call this Carson City Cultural Commission meeting to order. It's 5:30. Roll call, please.
Chairperson McBride.
Present.
Vice Chair Doneo.
Present.
Member Commissioner Aboud.
Here.
Commissioner Bugley.
Here.
Commissioner Geary. Commissioner Nagel. Commissioner Ramirez. A quorum's present.
Thank you.
Here, yeah. Lupe's here.
Okay.
She is such a dear.
At this time, we'll take public comments. The public is invited at this time to comment on and discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of the Carson City Cultural Commission. In order for members of the public to participate in the Cultural Commission's consideration of an agenda item, the Cultural Commission strongly encourages members of the public to comment on an item during the item itself, subject to a 3-minute limit. No action may be taken on a matter raised under public comment unless the item has been specifically included on the agenda. And let the record reflect that Commissioner Ramirez is present.
My apologies for being late.
It's okay. So, do we have any comments from the members of the public that are present? Who are present? Okay, seeing none. For possible action, adoption of agenda. Action may be taken on those items denoted for possible action only. Items on this agenda may be taken in a different order than listed. 2 or more agenda items may be combined for consideration. An item may be removed from this agenda, or discussion related to an item on this agenda may be delayed at any time, but since it's such a short agenda, I doubt we're going to be changing the order of things tonight.
I move we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. For possible action, discussion and possible action to score and recommend to the Board of Supervisors those applicants in request of arts and culture funding for redevelopment special events grants fiscal year 18-19.
Move approval. Do you want it? It says action.
Commissioners, thank you for attending the special meeting, and to our guests in the audiences, arts organizations in Carson City, thank you for being here. This is a part 2 of our May 14th meeting where the commissioners scored the applications for fiscal year 18-19. This meeting does not change those scores. This meeting is to take a look at those scores and take a look at the funding to determine what is a fair and transparent way to allocate this money for Board of Supervisor approval later on in June. So up here on the screen, so the information in front of us, I just took out the commissioners' votes. All the information remains the same. I just put them from top to bottom as far as scoring. So at the top, you'll see 97% Mile High Jazz, going down to 78%. The column G is what we walked away from with our last meeting. We are approximately $5,600 over what you, the commission, has scored to allocate. So, as you recall, I said I would come back to this meeting and provide some funding tables and some scenarios. It took me a couple of hours at my desk to put these together. My hope is that if you choose one of these, that can be used as a template so that next year, instead of a second special meeting, it's maybe a 10-minute recess so I can plug in these numbers and we can have, and the applicants can have their answer. They can go home with their answer. So funding table example 1. So this was a scenario where, give me 1 second to pull this up. This was a scenario where I said, okay, let's imagine giving 100% funding of what you wanted to allocate to any score between 90 and 100, which is that shade of green. And I said, let's say we'll give 90% to those who scored 80 to 89, and a 0 for anything under 80 points. I recently chaired the Nevada Arts Council's Partners in Excellence Grants at the Legislature Building last week. This is a similar scenario. Their final, what the panelists did there was they took that deficit and shared it across all applicants. That's one way to do this, but I don't think it really shows the excellence in the scoring. For that burden to be shared across the board, I think might serve those high scores poorly. Anyhow, so in this funding table 1, and I'm going to scroll up now to show you, and this is column H that I'm looking at. So of course there was no 100% score, so there was no one applicant who received 100% of your recommended funding. But there were, give me 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so this is the funding scenario for 100% funding for any score between 100 and 90. And as you can see here in column H, even if we did that, where there was no, we're not accepting scores under 80, we're still short almost $1,300.
I just wanted to talk about the... I can put
Okay.
it.
I was going to explain the chart and then open it up to the commissioners' discussion, but on the advice of the DA's office, I think we'll ask for one of the commissioners to recuse herself from the discussion as we did for the scoring technique. So if Commissioner Bugley, if you could please step down from the board.
Okay, may I stay up here, or?
So what you need to do right now is put a disclosure on the record, just like you did last time, and so that people understand why you're going to be abstaining from voting. You can sit up there if you want to, but you can't take part. I mean, technically you can, but it's very slippery slope, so I would recommend that you actually do not.
I will step down then, and I am recusing myself because I am an officer of the Mile High Jazz Band Association and the Carson City Symphony Association.
Thank you for doing that. And as you recall, just for the public information, I also reconvened the same commissioners here that voted and scored, so there was consistency to our discussion here. I then created a funding table example 2. And this is what I had referred to, saying that if you scored 100%, you got 100. If you scored anywhere between 90 and 99, we'll give you 90%, 80 to 89, 80%, and again, funding nothing below 80 points. So this is funding table example 2.
What's the difference mathematically there?
The difference is that in funding table example 1, you received 100% funding anywhere between 90 and 100
Okay.
points.
Got it.
And so this is, you only get 100 if you scored 100.
Right. Okay.
So we didn't have any scores of 100%, yeah. But it knocks everything down a little bit. And so looking at funding table example 2, which is column I, so we'll use Mile High, for example. So 90% of this amount equals this amount. So all the blues are 90% of this recommended amount, and the oranges are 80% of the recommended amount, and nothing below 80%. Just for clarification here, I should have mentioned this earlier, just yellow indicates what I'm calling new applicants. So in this funding scenario number 2, we actually have a remainder of almost a little over $2,100 extra, okay? No, so follow me on this. So instead of holding that and rolling that over, let's say for next fiscal year, imagine, if you will, there's some water in a pitcher and I'm going back and I'm trying to fill everyone's glass to the top from where we were. So in that, 1, 2, 3, the first 4 applicants get the full amount, which was your original recommended amount from last meeting. Adding in to where we're here. This is Pinkerton Ballet. And it would take $460 to bump them up back again to your recommended amount of $4,600, but there's only $321.20 available. So they're just shy a little bit. And as we go down, there was no more of that remainder to fill up the glasses, so to speak. So this column I, column J, is the same funding table. J is just trying to take that remainder and plug it back in to the top. Both funding table H and I, funding table 1 and 2, move forward with not recommending allocation for the 2 lowest scores, which is common practice. So if you'd like, I can move this over again so you can see who we're talking about. Full is the first 4, so that would be Mile High Jazz, Capital City Arts Initiative, Sierra Nevada Ballet, the Midsummer Night Dream application, and Wild Horse Productions. They would receive your recommended amount based upon their scoring. Pinkerton Ballet would fall just a little bit shy of your recommended scoring. And then the rest would be Brewery Arts Center would receive 90% of your recommended amount. Sierra Nevada's Peanut Cracker, the Carson Symphony, and the C5's Back to School would receive 80% of your recommended, with one of C5's events and Proscenium Players receiving 0 funding. So that was, as you can tell, it's a little, if you have any questions, I can repeat myself. Sometimes it takes a little bit to wrap your mind around. That's why it took me a little while to do this. Or if the commissioners had any other methods to allocate the funds, I'd be more than happy to sort of make a new column, and you could bear with me while I type in those numbers. And I think, just thinking, in the future, this funding table, both funding tables were based upon the scores that we received. We received a lot of 90%. So, I mean, theoretically speaking, next year if we receive a lot of 70%, it might throw off the funding chart again. It's going to have to be case specific for the number of applicants and the overall score. So maybe I'm just being over optimistic and thinking that we could take a recess next year. But I could probably print out a couple of scenarios in advance.
Can you please scroll back up? There, that's good.
And just as a reminder, for this fiscal year, there was $25,000 allocated from redevelopment. There were 2 rollovers, 2 balances that brought us up to $32,200.
I'll just throw out my suggestion, my thought. I like funding table example 2A with some slight modifications. But what do the other commissioners think?
comfortable with the last solution. To me, that seems logical.
Yeah. It does to me, too. Just to question the Brewery Art Center and why that was downgraded.
So the Brewery Arts Center, there was a recommended amount based on their score.
Your mic.
Brewery Arts Center recommended amount based upon the commissioner's score was $4,566.67. Their score was 91. Their score was 91, and that was in funding table 2 we're looking at. So a score of 91 in funding table
Okay.
2 is actually 90%
That's why.
of your recommended amount.
Okay.
And when I had the balance and I started filling the glasses from the top, so to speak, we ran out of money right here. And so that's why that has the same amount as this column. These two columns will have the same amount going down. That's why it says none, meaning none of this money was re-entered into those cells.
My thought about all the different events that have been proposed and the different kinds of things that are proposed to provide for our community is that I am a huge supporter of free events for families and, you know, people of all walks of life to be able to attend. Some of the proposals don't offer that. And so I had, you know, cooked up some numbers of my own, given my philosophical stance on that. But, and I also think it's okay if we rolled over a little, because I think we can always use it. But, please, commissioners, give your...
Just as a reminder, so this year we had 11 applications. 9 applicants, 11 applications. But I'm going off that number 11. Last fiscal year, we had 7, and the year before that, we had 4. So, you know, part of my responsibilities here is to document that upward tick, that trend, and the onus of finding and securing that additional funding will be on me, but at least now I can show over a period of 3 years that there was a growing increase and that there's more events to fund. So that's my strategy here.
I have to agree with that. Because we have more events to fund, I really don't want to roll money over. I want to use it. I think that's what it's there for, and I want to use it.
And does that create a platform then to say we need an increase in the amount of money that's given to us to award to very worthwhile causes?
Call or write your Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you know, the Redevelopment Authority Citizens
It's
Committee
RAC.
have been very gracious in their attendance to a lot of our recent arts and culture activities, and have even participated in some firsthand. And so, you know, I look forward to developing that relationship and that communication, explanation of what we're doing with the full commission board, you know.
I would concur with Terry that we support those events that are not charging, because we definitely need to see more free events in our community.
So I just want to get back to hit that topic that under our new guidelines, that's not specified criteria for eligibility.
No.
They can still charge admission fee. Your point is well taken, I think, for the community, and of course that can be mentioned, you know, next year.
Providing grants to organizations that make money
Microphone.
off their, I'm sorry, giving grants to organizations that charge money for admission it's okay, but to me, just community grants feel like they should be used for people who are really trying to reach out to groups that are underserved or that normally wouldn't be able to afford something. So that's just, my 2 cents.
Although some of these groups do provide special admission and so forth, right? Mhm.
Further discussion?
I just think, you don't have to charge the world, but you have like Productions, Pinkerton, Wild Horse, all of these, they need to buy costumes, they need to have music, they need to score things. I mean, and where are they going to get the money from?
Right.
So-
Charging admission.
Charging it, if you want to do a free concert in a series that you're then charging for, fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be free all the way around. That was one of the reasons we kind of got into this in the first place. It was like everything was free and nobody was growing or moving on, and we're trying to create an artistic city that's of great value. And we need to support them, whether it's in body or in funding. That's my 2 cents.
And, I will mention that among the guidelines that I created, we are looking to get our ROI on this more so than we have in past years, which will add to our stats, I think, which will add to the robust quality of what they've put, in front of us. I do have faith in it, yeah.
Well, I agree with Barbara on a certain level that there's got to be a balance. There's a balance in everything, and want to spread it the best way possible. And Mark, thank you very much for your mathematical work. I'm sure that was fun for you.
As an artist, that does not come easily, okay?
Well, bravo, well done.
So at this time, should I invite public comment if there's any comments to be made before we make a motion, or?
Yes.
Yeah. So at this time, if there's anyone present in the public that would like to step up and comment on this, please feel free to at this time. So is there a motion?
I move to recommend to the Board of Supervisors the following redevelopment arts and culture special events grants in fiscal 18-19 to be prioritized as follows.
As indicated in column.
Okay. Indicated in column
IJ.
J. I think it's very fair.
I do too. Very fair.
Done good.
Was there a second?
Second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, one abstention, correct?
And one abstention.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thanks again to all the applicants for all your hard work that you put into your proposals. I know that's not fun. And good luck, always. And so now is our final period for public comment on discuss any topic that's relevant to or within the authority of the Carson City Cultural Commission in order for members of the public to participate in the commission's consideration of an agenda item. Cultural Commission strongly encourages members of the public to comment on an item during this item itself. And no action may be taken on a matter that's not placed on the agenda prior as a possible action item. Hi, thank you.
I got it, save it.
I know you've all gotten it. Yeah, I've got it too.
I've got it up.
Oh, you have it up in?
Yeah, the restaurant.
Sharon Ross, Capital City Arts Initiative. You're invited to a party Friday evening, wine in the courthouse. It's a special thing. We just have the show up. Everything's up except title cards and the wall text. But the exhibition, we have 16 artists and dozens of artwork from Creative Growth Art Center in Oakland, which serves a huge group, like 150 clients is how they refer to these artists. They all have artists, they're all people with disabilities, and some of them are pretty severe, some of them are not so much, but they make amazing art. They hire professional artists to come in and work with them. One man's been there coming every day for 30 years. The artwork is incredible. We could have hung double the amount, but we had this limit of wall space. But I hope you can come. The essay is going to press tomorrow morning, so there will be an essay to hand out. So do come Friday evening, 5 to 7 in the courthouse.
Will some of those artists be here?
No,
Okay,
no, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
You
It's
get,
all right.
You get the board, CCAI board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Any other comment at this time?
I'll make a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
Just to remind everyone that True Grit is wrapping up after 30 days of events, and there's information at the front table about Marshal Christopher Hoy, who will be giving a presentation here at the Community Center on Friday, starting at 6, and the mayor was kind enough to say that he was going to put together a proclamation honoring the Marshal for his past work. And
Is that at 6 or 6:30?
it's doors open at 6,
Okay.
film at
And then the keynote's at
7:15,
6:30?
thank
Right, okay.
And that'll be given the True Grit sort of final report at our July meeting. Yeah.
One more comment. I'm David Bugley, and I just want to mention that the Carson City Symphony is going to be doing its Pops Party concert. Traditionally, we've done it at the Governor's Mansion. This year, we're going to be doing it at the Capitol Amphitheater in the area around the Capitol and the Supreme Court building. And it's free admission. It's going to be at 6 o'clock, and we're going to have the orchestra, our chorus, and singer Sharice Shipley. And it's
What's the date? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's Sunday the 10th, June 10th, at the Capitol Amphitheater, 6 o'clock. Free admission.
One more quick one.
Go ahead.
This weekend is the closing weekend of the PPI production, The Hit. So Friday night and Saturday night at 7, Sunday at 2. This is our closing weekend of this production, which has been my directorial debut with PPI. So if you have not had a chance to see it this last weekend, it will be closing this weekend.
Can you please
Thank you.
introduce yourself for the record?
Oh, sorry. My name is Jennifer Westling. I'm a board member of PPI. Yes.
Karen?
Purchase your tickets for Jefferson Starship on July 11th, Concert Under the Stars. CarsonCityGreenhouse.org is the only place that you can get tickets.
And of course, don't forget the Father's Day powwow at the Stewart Indian School campus on the weekend of June 16th for Father's Day. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned.
So adjourned, 6 p.m. Thank you very much.
Way to go.